What is your outlook for Q1? How does demand look? What are you hearing from your customers as far as stock, inventory, and how much returns they see coming in?
Well, the outlook for demand is really fabulous throughout 2021 and 2022, and there's a number of factors driving that. Clearly, e-commerce, the trends in growth in e-commerce are just fabulous. There's a study that was put out just before Christmas that projects that e-commerce as a percentage of total retail sales is going to go from 14% last year to 30% by 2024. So effectively more than doubling. So that creates the need for more warehouse space, more, new state-of-the-art facilities for our customers to use. And it puts more and more demand on last mile facility and delivery options. And, it's being driven by further penetration in e-commerce, more frequency of e-commerce spending, and expanding in categories. So all three of those things are driving tremendous amounts of need for space in the e-commerce. But it's not just e-commerce. There's a new phenomenon that has really taken on just since the pandemic, which we call safety stock or inventory expansion. Most of us were experienced going to retail stores during the pandemic or shopping online and not being able to get certain products. And many of our major retailers and consumer products companies were used to operating in the U.S. with about 15 days of inventory on hand. And what they found is that just doesn't work anymore. So they're now expanding their inventory capacity to 30 to 45 days of inventory for key critical components.
Jim, exactly. I think that's the point we're actually really trying to hit on here, is that the growth in e-commerce is kind of changing the demands for warehousing. Can you also talk about returns? And my understanding is that it takes a lot more room in a warehouse to do returns and process those than it does to even fulfill the original order. Can you talk about what you're hearing and what you're seeing, your outlook is for companies, as you mentioned, stepping up their safety stock, stepping up their inventory, and also processing more demands as their e-commerce sales increase?
Sure. Returns are a very big challenge in the entire retail industry. In e-commerce, they call it reverse logistics. And what most e-commerce companies, the major companies, are doing is setting up separate operations to deal with returns much more efficiently. So that, again, creates another demand driver for more space out there. And, most of us are guilty of shopping online and finding two or three things and buying them all with the intention of returning two. We generally keep two and only return one, but that's a very significant trend in e-commerce shopping, and reverse logistics is a big demand driver for space for us right now.
I would imagine. So we know about a third of your space is taken up by e-commerce customers. Who's using the other 2/3, and what's your outlook for 2021 as far as what percentage of your space will be used by e-commerce this year?
We have many of the recognized brand names in our top 10. UPS is a very large client of ours. Home Depot, Wayfair.com, Target.com, Walmart.com. So, any of the major users of distribution space are big customers of ours. And, it's not just all about e-commerce and reverse logistics and safety stocks. Many retailers, traditional successful retailers today, are re-engineering their logistics and supply chain to be able to meet the needs of U.S. consumers today. Amazon has effectively set the bar that you can get virtually anything in 48 hours. And if you're a retailer or a consumer product company, you need to be able to meet that same demand. And consequently, people are investing significant amounts in logistics and supply chain today.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.